specific question that I'm going to talk about tonight. But before we begin, do any of you ladies have any questions specific to anything you're working on in regards to movement? It could be anything.
So, go ahead, Julie. Nope, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I finally got my book from the knees over toes guy.
Yeah.
And I guess there's only 8 exercises in it, not 30. I don't know where I got 30 from, but so I'm starting that later today.
Good. Let me know how that works for you. I know Coach Lauren uses him a lot, and she loves his movements to help strengthen knees. So
Yeah, I have a bum knee, so that's where I'm gonna start.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I need to figure out what the exercise is before I ask you. I never remember the names. That's why I like the app. Like pulling something backwards drags. So it is pulling something and I should ask Tori because she gave me the exercise. There are no hills in Florida. So if you don't have the equipment to do a backwards drag and you don't have any hills.
So a backwards drag would be my guess, because this is probably for your knees too, right? Yeah. I was gonna say it would require a sled, which they have in that picture. And if you don't have a sled, then yes, your next option would be hills. If you don't have hills,
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could use. You might have to ask Tori and see if she's got any.
Yeah, I'll ask her again. So I did ask her, and I think she missed the part where I was in Florida with no hills.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Do you
pretty
have
flat
access to
here.
a treadmill?
Yeah, I was thinking
No.
treadmill.
No.
I don't. Not here. At our other, we had a house before we had the condo, and this condo doesn't have an exercise room or anything. So our
Gotcha.
other place did, but
Yeah, that was my only other thought was treadmill, but I don't know like at what speed, because treadmill can be iffy. But that would be a good alternative. I don't know. You'd have to ask Tori and see if you can get some specific if you don't have the equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first part that I wanted to talk about tonight is integrity with your reps. Have integrity with your reps. And this was something that was said to me last week. And I thought it was a really good phrase that I think about as I'm working out. And this could, like, no matter what workout you're doing, whether it's running or swimming or CrossFit or strength training, you can use this for anything. And basically what that means is, are you moving well? Are you doing it correctly? Are you cheating yourself? Just because, so some of you work out at home. Some of you may not. But for those of you who work at home, you're like, I have no one here to hold me accountable. I'm going to cheat this burpee. I'm not going to go all the way down in my burpee. I'm not going to jump at the top of my burpee. I'm doing bicep curls and I'm getting tired, but I don't want to drop my weight because my ego is getting in the way. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to bounce my way into the next rep. Those type of things, you have to ask yourself, am I getting out of what I'm putting in? Are you doing it correctly? And so this is where it kind of comes in of have integrity with your reps. Make sure that whatever it is that you value in your workout, are you doing it to your standards? And it's just something that it was a good reminder for me, even though I am a stickler for movement and doing movement well. There are times where I'm going through my workout and I understand the feeling of being tired of, oh my gosh, one more burpee. Can I just do a half a burpee? Can I step up instead of jump up? Can I, your brain is always trying to find an easy way out, right? Our brain doesn't like the uncomfortable feeling. And so it's our brain that we have to convince to do one more rep, to do it well one more time. Otherwise, we'll just cheat ourselves and we will slack off and we will try to find a way out. And so as you're going through your workouts, and like I said, this could be for anything. It could be for running, it could be swimming. Even if you're in a gym, like even if I remember coaching CrossFit and I would watch some individuals, and even though it was a group setting, they would think that I'm not paying attention to them. And I would call them out and be like, hey, if you are getting tired and you're not moving well, drop your weight. Go to a lighter weight and move well. Have integrity with your movement, have integrity with your reps. Don't cheat yourself, because then you can't come back later to me and say this isn't working, because again, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're cheating yourself in your reps, what kind of results do you think you're going to get? Right? So we're just looking down the road a little bit. So it doesn't matter if you work out at home, if you work out in a gym and you think the coach is not watching, the coach may be watching. But, and if you need modifications because you're like, my body's breaking down, I can't perform the movements well, then ask for a modification. Drop your weight, go to a lighter weight, whatever it is you need to do. Stop and take a breath. But I thought it was just a really good reminder for myself, and I wanted to share it with you ladies because, again, I get the feeling of wanting to just cut the corners. And there was one time I remember coaching, and I thought this was really funny to share. When in CrossFit, we'd have to run around a light pole, and we could cut through the parking lot. It was a parking lot. And you could either cut straight through the parking lot to get to the 400 meter marker, but to be precise and to actually get 400 meters, you actually had to run around the light pole and go around the 400 meter marker. But you would be surprised how many people would try to cut that corner because they're like, it's just a pole and I'm just going to cut instead of going around. And it's like, but you're really not getting a true 400 meter. And they're like, it's a few meters difference. I'm like, yes. But you're cutting that corner because you are tired and you are trying to get to the finish line. So I'm going to make you take those 4 extra steps around the light pole. And 1, 2, it's a mental game, right? It's just that little extra push that I'm pushing you mentally of like, you may not think it's a big deal, but it's a big deal. And I'm pushing you mentally, not only physically. So it was just funny. And sometimes too, at the end of the 400 meter, they wouldn't make it all the way to the marker. They'd stop like a few steps before, turn around and come back. It's like, no, touch the mark, and again, people would be like, but it's just a couple of steps. Like, yes, but you're cheating yourself. This is the thing where it's like, it's easy. It's not our body that we have to convince to keep going. It's our brain that we have to convince. So it's like, tell yourself, it's just 3 more steps. I can go and I can touch that and I can turn around and head back, or I can go around that light pole, or I can do 1 more rep and I can do it really well. And it's more of a mental game than anything. But again, it still comes down to having integrity with your reps and your movement. So I wanted to share that. So hopefully as you go throughout this week, as you're doing your workout, just be thinking about that. How can you move really well? And so I'll be curious next week if you ladies hop on, like if that helped you in your workout to keep going. The second part tonight, I wanted to talk about, Marlena had a question last week about overhead presses or any type of shoulder presses. She has one side that bothers her. We could use the word it hurts. I don't know if, Marlena, I don't know if you said it, does it pinch or does it click or does it just?
It's like if there's a strain in there, I guess. Maybe like a pinch, not a click.
And it's more like in the front part of your shoulder. Oh, I think she froze. Did she freeze or I freeze? I think she froze.
She did, not you. But she's smiling.
I know. That's a good picture. Usually when
Yeah,
people
it
freeze,
is.
it's like this wonky face.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe she'll come back. I think she said when last time it was kind of more like in the front here. And I've had that pain too, like in the front, and it does feel like it's a strain. And so here's the thing. Whenever it comes to pain, like that's kind of like a check engine light, right? We want to make sure that we are thinking, addressing. We don't want to push through it if it's something that's hurting. We want to try to get to the root of the problem. If it is an injury, I have to say, since I'm not a doctor or a physical therapist or anything, I would, consult with a physical therapist or a doctor if it's like really, really bad. What counts as really, really bad? I would say if you are at a point where you cannot lift it past here, you can't lift your elbow past your shoulder because you have pain, that's not a good sign. So that's something where you want to go talk to a doctor or a physical therapist and be like, can we get this checked out? If you can raise your arm overhead without any weight and it doesn't bother you, but as soon as you start adding weight, then it bothers you, more than likely that's more of probably tightness, maybe some imbalance in there in your muscles. So one thing that I would recommend, I mean, it could be a plethora of things. So the one thing that I've seen a lot of though, when it comes to shoulders is tightness in different areas, different muscle groups around the shoulder. And so I'm just going to share what has helped me in the past and what has helped some other clients whenever they have overhead pinching in the kind of frontal part of their shoulder. So one thing is really making sure that you have a good warm-up session before you do any overhead press. And so what I like to do, and I forgot to grab it, somewhere around here, I have a lacrosse ball. It could be a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, your dog's tennis ball, I don't know, whatever you have at home. Take that, and then I would stick it, if this is your shoulder that hurts, I would stick it up underneath here. Okay. So if you kind of grab around here, this is your lats. If you grab up here, this is your shoulder. If you come in the middle, there is like a deep muscle in there. And it's kind of where your lat kind of connects with your shoulder. And it can be one, either really weak in there, or two, it can be really, really tight. And it kind of inhibits your shoulder movement. And so especially if you come back here, you might feel some pulling here. So what I like to do is I take the lacrosse ball and I stick it back there. If I would start on a wall, I would lean up against a wall with the tennis ball and stick it in there and just kind of move your arm around and massage it. You can, go up and down to get a deeper massage. If you're not really feeling it and you, like me, I like deep tissue massage. It's like, for me, the more that it hurts, like I enjoy it more. I don't know, weird. But you lay on the ground. If you lay on the ground, you're going to get a deeper press into that muscle. And it's going to be that, oh, it hurts so good type of pain. So be gentle when you do it, because it can be a shock to some people because they've never hit that muscle before. And it is pretty sensitive if it's really tight. So you could try that. Stick it there. I like to kind of hold it there for about a minute. If I'm up against a wall, then I'm going to do about, 10 to 15 rotations to kind of mobilize back here. And then what I'll do is I'll move that lacrosse ball from here and I'll put it right here in my traps. A lot of us women carry a lot of stress in our trap muscles. Okay. These are our trap muscles, our top of our shoulders. And so tight muscles here will also have an effect on our shoulder. There is a muscle too that kind of goes under our collarbone. And if that gets really tight and inflamed, as soon as we go to raise our arm, it actually pinches the muscle like that runs right here. So if you get pinching as you're raising, more than likely it's because your traps can be really, really tight and it's just pinching things off because everything's just bunching up and pinching in there. So what I like to do is get the lacrosse ball again up against the wall and I'll stick it here and I'll kind of lean back and I'll again do like 10 to 15 rotations and it will massage your trap muscles. Again, you can also lay on the floor and do this. You might have to kind of lift your hips up and go into a bridge position to get more pressure onto that lacrosse ball. Again, it's more intense. But if you really want to dig in there, I would do that. So you're going to do both sides. I would do both sides on that. The next part I would do is I take that lacrosse ball and I'd stick it in your chest. Okay. Our chest muscles, because what happens too is a lot of us sit for long periods of time. And so when we sit, we tend to round and we shorten this muscle. It's supposed to be long. And when we sit, it shortens. And so again, it's pulling on the shoulder forward. So when we try to do an overhead position, we're forcing that muscle back and trying to do overhead. And again, that can also put a lot of strain on that shoulder and cause some irritation. So we take the lacrosse ball and we massage here. Now, you have to do that in a door frame. Otherwise your face will kind of smash up against the wall and it's unpleasant. So if you like get a door frame, okay, and you put the lacrosse ball in the door frame and stick your head out the door, that's like the easiest way to do it. And again, I do my arm sideways to kind of help massage it up against the wall, alongside the wall. You can massage it and then you can do the other side. Again, you can do this on the ground if you want more of an intense dig in there, but just play with that. So 3 different areas: behind the shoulder, okay, back in here, your traps, and then in the front. Okay. So I like to break that tissue up before you get into a warm up. So then for a warm up, if you have a band at home, and it could be any kind of resistance band, it doesn't matter. You're going to take your resistance band, you're going to hold on to it here, and you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together and you're going to pull them apart. Okay. They're called pull aparts, and you're going to pull them apart, and you're going to do that nice and slow and controlled. And you're going to do that for about 10 to 15 reps. Okay. There's another one where you can stand on your resistance band and hold it in one hand and do a press up. Just do a single arm up, switch to the other side. And this is just warming it up. It's good. It's lightweight. It's getting your shoulders and your back ready for heavier weights. So we're just kind of going through the motions of movement at a lighter weight. So let's see, pull aparts, presses. What was the other one? Can you hear my dog barking? My dog's like, she's like in the garage, but she hears something out there. Pull aparts, presses. Oh my gosh, there's one more and I can't think of it. Oh, I don't have anything to show you. So take your resistance band and flip it behind you. Okay, so imagine the resistance band is behind my shoulders. Okay, and from here, I'm going to press. Okay, so I'm pressing forward. So it's almost like a push up, but you're standing up and you're just using resistance bands to press. Does that make sense? Okay. I know there's a pull, there's a press, and then there's a push. So those are the 3 things that I like to do for shoulder warm up, is with the lacrosse ball first, and then with some resistance band work, and then go into your workout. Marlena, I know that was a lot, but I would give it a try. Give it a try before your next overhead workout and see if that helps, and let me know. Like I said, it could be it could be so many different things, but that's where I like to start with people first, is like, is it muscle tightness? And if it is, let's do some mobility first and, at least check that box off. And if it's still not, then we'll try something else. And if it's at a point to where like no mobility, stretching, anything like that is working, then maybe there's something structurally going on that needs to be addressed. Marlena, do you go to a chiropractor?
I do. I haven't been in a while.
So that's another thing too, that if you go to a chiropractor, then, make an appointment and let them know that you're having some shoulder pinching. Because it could be too, like something needs to be adjusted in there. And so that might be something to think about too.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions about that specifically? Or have experienced any overhead pinching, burning, pain?
I do with my right shoulder. I was in physical therapy for it, and I stopped doing the exercises. So when I was walking, I was holding my phone and my shoulders just throbbing with pain.
Mhm.
So I decided to sit for a minute in the park. But yeah, that's something that I have to work on too, is that shoulder, because I can't rotate my arm in circles without it pinching. It's
Okay.
really weird. And I think it's because I have hypermobility in that shoulder.
Mm,
And so something I have to work on.
gotcha. Did you have any surgery on it before?
No,
or
no,
did you
no.
fall on it? No.
Not that I can recall. Hypermobility, I think, runs in the family. My daughter, her whole left side is hypermobile, and she's in physical therapy, and she's got back issues and all kinds of things. She's going to be 20 in the end of March. And so it's just something that runs in the family, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've never worked with anyone who is hypermobile. I do remember learning about it, going through like personal training stuff, and it was quite the process to try to get your joints to not, like, it was almost like you had to practice only going so far with your joints and not allowing them to like overextend in certain areas. It was like a lot of work to like get your body trained to not overextend.
Yes.
There was one lady though, I think she would hyperextend her knees. Her knees were like, she was hypermobile in her legs, and she had to be very, very careful because her knees would like hyperextend. Yeah, not pleasant. Something that you could try that, Julie, though, if you have like a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, just to help break up those muscles in there. Because a lot of times too, like when we hold our phones, like it's not a position, right? That's ideal to hold it there. But if it's getting tired, there could be some tension.
Yeah, I sit a lot, so I know all about the shoulders going forward. So when I lay on my back and I try to stretch that out, it really hurts.
Yeah.
So I have to slowly get back into that.
Yeah.
That's why you should not stop your physical therapy exercises.
That too. That too. Are you working with Tori, Julie, in this program?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Tori's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think my meeting with her is Monday. So.
Oh, awesome. Tori is great. She is so knowledgeable. Terry, I know you're starting to work with her too. So that's awesome. Very cool. Do any of you other ladies have any other questions in regards to shoulder or even chest, neck? They're all connected. No. There's so many of you on tonight. It's exciting. It's been a while since we've had a good sized group. Although we're missing Kristen, and Nicole, I think, was on last week too. So, well, awesome. Okay, so here's my next question before we hop off. Is there anything specific that you need help with that we can talk about next week? And it could be anything. It could be movement related. It could be stretching, mobilizing. It could be anything. If you don't have anything now, then think about it. And as you go throughout your week, think about anything that you want to know more about. And then you can hit me up next week and we can chat about it. Or you can find me on Marco Polo and just shoot me a message, and so that we can talk about it. Because a lot of times you guys have questions and you think, oh, it's not a big deal, but somebody else probably has that same question and never really thought to ask about it. So, okay. Well, I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm gonna take a picture because I keep forgetting. And now that I have like 4 minutes, I'm like, I got time. I could take a picture of you ladies. Okay, so what I do is, because I know there's some new faces on here, we take a picture and then we just tag you on Instagram. Or we tag the Fitme community and try to encourage more people to hop on. So don't know if I have any. I know I have a few of you on Instagram. Are you hiding your face? No.
I have an Instagram.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, see, here's the thing. If you don't show your face, and there's some of the coaches will actually try to draw your face freehand. So it's either your original face that you were given or somebody's going to freehand it. I'm really bad at freehanding. So Rose, if you're hearing this, I'm not going to freehand your face. So, all right, ready? One. Oh, there she is. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, ladies. You guys are fun. All right. Well, it was fun chatting with you all. And again, if you guys ever have questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I hope you ladies have a great week, and I'll see you all next week.
Thanks,
You too.
Sam.
Bye.